Our last talk for tonight. So, hello, and we are back at the stage. You can leave this actually if you want. So, I would like to introduce PHOTOLAB with KATALIN, KOPIN and BALAZS here. Thank you very much for coming and representing us, your association, your lab, based in Budapest, if I'm not wrong. Szentendre here in Budapest. Okay, very welcome and handing over.
Welcome everyone, I am KATALIN, art historian, curator and artistic director of PHOTOLAB. I am grateful for this opportunity to show you the exhibition space. PHOTOLAB, a place for photography and community building. Opened in Szentendre in early 2022, PHOTOLAB is a non-profit gallery of the Ferenc Museum Center that supports the creation of new photographic projects and presents exhibitions to show them to the public. We have staged 5 exhibitions this year, and each was accompanied by side events, including guided tours and film screenings. With the participation of renowned exponents of sister arts, actors, visual artists, musicians and film directors. Analog photography is especially in focus, but we welcome all photography-based projects. By the end of its first year, PHOTOLAB has become a prominent and important venue in the Hungarian photography scene. Our plans for the future include international projects and cooperative efforts. I'd like to talk about this place briefly. The exhibition space is located in the historic center of Szentendre, among churches and other museum buildings, next to the town's main square, with its own walled garden. It is in a pedestrian zone where tourists and locals like to take a walk and hang out. The intention behind the creation of this exhibition space is to secure due attention for photography in a town where the focus is mainly on the graphic arts. The artistic concept of the first year has concentrated on Szentendre, as we presented outstanding photographers who work in or near the town. Next year we will expand our scope with the solo exhibitions of internationally recognized photographers who live elsewhere in Hungary or even abroad. We seek to represent the diversity of photographic genres, including the use of photography in fine art, conceptual and experimental, as well as documentary photography. We also want the exhibitions to encourage the artists to create new projects and works. Further, the displays allow us to expand the collection of the Ferenc Museum Center, for which a photograph or a series is chosen from each show. We fashioned a lounge in the building where visitors can leaf through magazines and new photographic literature and listen to the lectures of experts we invite. PHOTOLAB presented the following exhibitions and major events in 2022. Gestures of Freedom. The solo exhibition of documentary photographer Robert László bácsi focused on 5 long-term photographic projects that revolve around the theme of experiencing individual or collective freedom. The works on display also outline patterns and those of the photographer's motivations for choosing a subject and the elements that connect or run through his long-term photographic undertakings. Spanning 10 years, the different series look into circumstances and conditions under which an individual or a community can experience freedom, examine what it takes and what it is like to feel free. Whilst traveling, Robert László bácsi discovered a small and a wider community, people who search for and experience freedom in their own creative and individual ways. The first is a family that refuses to integrate into the socially expected system, has no permanent residence and keeps traveling instead, relying on their inner compass to find places from Mexico and Norway to the land north of Lake Balaton, where the proximity of nature helps them to learn about themselves, a practice that has also informed their parenting, since the birth of their child. The other long-term photo series is Follow the Sun, which documents the lifestyle of an extended community on the coasts of southern France and Portugal. The photographs of the surfer hippie subculture trace freedom as a lifestyle, being in harmony with nature, the allure of light and waves, in a manner very different from the above mentioned. We show pictures of this series Follow the Sun. Yes. In a manner very different from the above-mentioned approaches, Bácsi's photographic portrayal of Nagorno-Karabakh reveals the dichotomy of a quest for freedom and the struggle against oppression. This is an account of the fate of the Armenian minority in Karabakh, who were forced to leave their homes when their efforts towards autonomy failed and the current war broke out. There were several side events to accompany the exhibition, including a guided tour with the artist and the curator, and the screening of Nomadland, a film that inspired the photographer. Senior artist Bácsi, held in high esteem, gave a guided tour of the show, and well-known visual artists were also invited to reflect on the photos. In 2010, Robert László Bácsi and two colleagues formed the Pictorial Collective, a photography group. The motivation was to create a community in which the members work independently but inspire each other. They consider it important to represent everyday situations and different problems, as well as their own opinions about them through an individual outlook. Our next exhibition was Stop War. As the Russian-Ukrainian war broke out shortly after the opening of the exhibition, we wanted to reflect on the events of the time. The organizers of the Odessa Photo Days Festival asked for support of the international professional photography community to stand up for Ukraine through their own means and use their exhibitions and festivals to show images that give a reliable account of the Russian invasion. The Ferenczy Museum Center and the exhibition space PHOTOLAB are committed to documentary photography and believe that photography is a powerful instrument to show reality. The exhibition Just to Show Reality. The exhibition Gestures of Freedom explored the aspiration for peace and freedom, as well as the importance of human dignity through humanist photography. In addition to Robert László Bácsi's series of photos, the exhibition space also featured images of the ongoing war in Ukraine. These were our effort to show solidarity and support to the people of Ukraine and to condemn all forms of aggression. The photos on show were taken by Ukrainian photographer Mikhail Palincsák and by Hungarian photographers András D. Hajdú and Hölvényi Kristóf in Ukraine. Our next exhibition was the Orbital Strangers project. With their third solo exhibition, the Orbital Strangers project doubled back on their track, as it were, and departed from the world of applied photography to autonomous conceptual photographic projects. Portrait and stills photography forms the main profile of Csaba Aknai and Gábor Kocsi, and their duo has international references in these fields. They are the staff photographers of the Hungarian Forbes magazine, and they are also responsible for the overall visual concept of the journal. Alongside their applied photography, this was the third time they had presented their autonomous visual work in a solo exhibition, a unique subjective series of photographs created in close cooperation in a symbiotic way. The Orbital Strangers' latest exhibition spoke about the search for a home and the effort to fit in through a series of paired portraits. The artist came to meet Kincső, the model, 2 years ago at a film shoot. As they were to learn, her quiet, contemplative solitude was not only her role at the time, she herself was a character, was as good as playing herself. They were taken by her constancy, and as they got to know her life story, they began to conceive this material. This is a story of journey, with only the start and the destination depicted. In spirit, Kincső is in Gyergyószentmiklós and Budapest at the same time. Although the images are limited to these two locations, there are a host of historical, cultural, social and infrastructural factors between the two positions that have shaped her journey to her new home, the discovery of which is also a discovery of herself. Kincső is no passive model in this photo series, just as the creators of the orbital strangers are not present as mere observers. The creative collaboration between the three can be described as a multidimensional puzzle, rather than a horizontal or vertical relationship between model and artist. What with the circumstances increasing the relevance of their subject, orbital strangers decided to auction off a limited copy of one of the photos on view and to use the proceeds to make a donation for the Hungarian charity service of the Order of Malta to support their effort of helping refugees from Ukraine. And our next exhibition was Passing Time. Is BALAZS DEIM. BALAZS DEIM is always looking for a site that cannot be seen with naked eye and can only be created through some photographic process. Produced over more than a year, Passing Time, his aptly named experimental project, delves into time and how it goes by. The artist documented all important steps of the work process, and this making of shots complemented the series on view in St. Andrés PHOTOLAB. Also, a wall was dedicated to the original gelatin silver paper negatives, and visitors could peek in the billows camera used. Help for the interpretation of the exhibition came in the form of an interview with the artist, who told about the major stages of his career, as well as the tricks he used for the series. The show was accompanied by an open-air film screening, guided tours, and a creative hands-on photography camp for children. The artist himself will talk in detail about the series in the next presentation. And our last exhibition was Coexistence, Lajos Csontó's exhibition in this year. Lajos Csontó began to look into the interaction between photos he made or found and objects or graphic elements. In the 1990s, he was most interested in pictures that were dominated by commonplace, symbolic, but archetypical meanings. Using analog and later digital methods, he combined this with some other image of external origin, objects or text. From the 2000s, in the deluge of digital images, he increasingly felt that the personal image could no longer fulfill its original function. This encouraged him to use montage and the stacking of images more extensively, hoping to convey distinctive messages. The exhibition was characterized by fragments of memories, feelings, conjectures, emotions, experience and imagining, the chance encounters of moods, their momentary coexistence and occasional congruity in space and time. This is a story like a film, and the plot is shaped by our own projections, rushes of memory and associations. The artist creates a sensual space that provides a framework and a surface for the evocation and projection of emotions and memories. There were 3 groups of images in the space of the installation, whose atmosphere was undefined. There were large posters mounted on the walls, medium-sized monochrome prints, and small color visual flashes. Although Coexistence was a photo-based exhibition, the emphasis was not on the individual photographs. Its character, the fact that it was an installation, served to attain a completeness, a kind of total experience that was created by the interaction of the groups of images and the dramaturgy of the arrangement. There was further a general meaning to reframing photographs created over the past 3 decades by placing them in the same space, a meaning that has a bearing of human life. The pages of the story that unfolded before us could be turned in any order, could be read in multiple directions. These were the 5 exhibition stages this year. A booklet was made for each in English and Hungarian. Be sure to take free copies after this talk. Each artist talks about his career, an interview we made, shedding more light on his motivations and work methods. The exhibitions are free to visit, and the first year has seen the formation of a core audience who keep returning. We have plans to record future shows as virtual exhibitions in a way similar to this one. Maybe we can show it, Flora. This is the exhibition space and the virtual, actually, Thank you for your attention. I now give the floor to photographer BALAZS.
Thank you. Hi, I'm BALAZS and I would like to talk about my series Passing Time, which was first exhibited at PHOTOLAB in the summer, and now the pictures are there. And in addition to the pictures of the series, I will also show work photos. Okay, I present the passage of time through 7 time units: year, month, week, day, hour, minute, second, using analog photographic processes, so that on each picture I display a view closely related to the given time unit, and the exposure time of each picture is as long as the nesting time unit. The first one is 1 year. This is a 1 year long exposure. For the extra long exposure time, I use the solarography process. I build pinhole cameras from aluminum boxes and put black and white photosensitive paper inside them. And then fix the boxes in high places so they face the sun. They were exposed there for a year, and thus the path of the sun in the sky became visible. The top of the ninth indicates the summer solstice, there you can see, and the bottom of the winter solstice. And between this there is 365 lines, and each line is 1 day. This is a negative of the picture. Okay, here is the pinhole camera on the balcony. Okay, and I set up 7 cameras, and 2 of them got wet due to the weather, but this also produced a nice result. There are the lines, and there are the damaged places on it. Okay, the next one is the month. Okay, here I also use the solarography process only in studio conditions. I photographed the white styrofoam ball for 31 days with an old large format wooden camera. Every day, a 24-hour photograph was taken of the ball in different lighting. Then the picture are arranged a lunar calendar, and together they cover a month's time. This is the work photos, and the next one. And here you can see how the original negative looked like when it's finished. It's a 24-hour. Okay, with the 1 week picture we get closer to the human factor. I also used solarography here, transforming a beer helmet into a pinhole camera helmet. Yeah, this is. I made pinhole cameras
out of beer cans and fixed them on the helmet. And I wore this cap everywhere I went for a week. Next picture. Következő. Yeah, this is. Thus the light-sensitive paper recorded my movement phase for a week. Yeah. And for the one-day image, I used the large format camera again and photographed one day of an old alarm clock with a 24-hour exposure time in a very low light. It makes the clock wheels appear blurred. Yeah, as you can see, or there. The 1 hour shot, I photographed the busy road at night with the same camera from a fixed position. Because of this, the lights of the cars turn into a stream of light in the image, which is visually related to the path of the sun in the 1 year image. Okay, sorry. This is the work photos. Okay, and this is. And the next one. This is the work photos. The drivers looked at me as a traffic policeman when the picture was taken. Okay, yeah, this is the negative, the developing. Okay, the 1 minute picture was taken from a moving vehicle of the landscape passing by. During development, I applied a circular mask to create a planetary visualization, so that the image also refers to the inner world of the observer of the landscape. And this is the method. I photographed the train and the landscape. Okay, the 1 second image, the 1 second image is a reproduction of a photographic paper of a segment of a cardiogram, the length of a heartbeat. Yeah, it is taken, and the pictures are drying in my bathroom. Yeah, and the bonus photo, I did not use a camera in the last picture. I created a black hole visualization with the use of photographic paper, light and chemicals. In this case, I also used a circular mask. I splashed developer on the photo paper, and where the liquid hit it, it turned black. Yeah, then after fixing, I scanned it and turned it over to negative, and the image refers to the still uncovered secrets of time and timelessness. That's all. Thanks. And if you would like it, here's some brochures of the exhibited artists of PHOTOLAB. Thank you.
Boris, thank you so much. And of course, yeah, we're just coming to the questions. I wanted also to invite you just to take a closer look, maybe after this presentation, to this amazing work. Coming down to you.
I don't know if you were here yesterday, but there were probably 5 or 6 of us standing. We're probably 8 in front of your series. And we guessed right, it was about time, but we did not guess correctly which times were which. Like the clock we thought was 1 minute, but it's not, it's 24 hours. And so I was just curious, for the observer who's not in your head, I mean, it's obvious that it's about time. How do we get it right? Because now you explained it, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, but yeah, how do we know? Because you know.
Yeah, maybe I write under the pictures, okay? No. but in the, I don't know, if maybe you will read the brochure, yeah? And then I write this with I don't know, or maybe if you think about it, yeah, if you see it on the picture, maybe it's in there, yeah.
It would be a great discussion.
Yeah.
And so that was really nice. So we're about 8 of us discussing. So you did a great job with the series. I really liked it.
Thank you. I'm happy about it. Thanks.
Time is relative. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for being here, to joining us today, and have a nice evening, and see you tomorrow with another talk, with another presentation. As I said, we are starting at 10 o'clock in the morning already with a photo book breakfast and a release party from the magazine maybe. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.